Hello, welcome to the What's On podcast. This is episode 2. My name is Zachary.
My name is Ryan.
And today we're going to be talking about some of Christopher Nolan's best films that we both watched. So the ones we're going to be focused on today is going to be the Dark Knight trilogy, Inception and Interstellar. And we're going to be kicking it off with the Dark Knight trilogy. So I thought a good place to start with would be, how would you order them in terms of like best to worst?
Best to worst, I would say The Dark Knight. Then, I would possibly say then The Dark Knight Rises, and then Batman Begins. That's my opinion. I think, obviously, the thing that made The Dark Knight for me the best was the characters and obviously the Joker.
Yeah.
It was definitely the best one for me in terms of everything in his progression.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight Rises was, again, a really good one. I mean, it started off slow.
Yeah.
But after that, when it picked up pace and obviously Batman got into it, it was a full-on scale.
Yeah.
Batman, and I really liked it, and I love the character of Bane.
Yeah, he's one of the best villain. We're going to go into the villains quite a bit in this. I really liked Hardy as Bane. I have the last. Cause I have the Dark Knight obviously at the start as well. I think a lot of people would do, but I have them switched around.
Yeah.
The as you say, the slow pace sort of got to me a bit. Like it sets it back away from Batman Begins because I thought it was such a good introduction to the character, like reintroduction. Because I think the last thing before Batman Begins was Batman and Robin. That's like with
a while ago.
So it was such a good reintroduction to the character in such a realistic tone. I think that gets it as number 2.
Well, there was no way of definitely being able to carry on from Batman and Robin, was there? You had to start it again.
Yeah, he sort of had to torch it down.
Yeah.
But here, the director and George Clooney, they both apologise for the film afterwards. But leading on from that, I'd say something interesting I found when going through the films in preparation for this podcast was each of the films had like 2 main villains.
Yep.
And so I think just like start from the beginning, like Batman Begins. So the 2 villains within that, the main villains, because obviously there's like Mahoney, like the mobsters, but they were
more like a subplot type.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure it's Mahoney, the guy who like points the gun in the bar to young Bruce Wayne, which then sets him off on this journey. He's like a subplot of it because then he comes back as Batman and then has him arrested. But the 2 main villains, should say, are Scarecrow, played by Cillian Murphy, and of course Ra's al Ghul, played by
Liam
Neeson. And interesting enough, I'm pretty sure the fake Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul, depending on which thing you've seen, is played by the same guy who plays Saito in Inception. I'm pretty sure.
I think now that you mention it, it does look similar.
I'm pretty sure it is, but so I really liked, because Ra's al Ghul comes out of nowhere at the end, but you always know he's like there. I really like Cillian Murphy's interpretation of the Scarecrow.
Yep.
Scarecrow, I think he did a really good job of it. It was a really weird thing from it, because when Bruce Wayne comes back as Batman, he's had all this training, and he's all this like technology from Lucius Fox, and sort of like, it's like, this is the Batman character, and then his first interaction with Scarecrow, I can't remember what his name is in the film unfortunately, but he gets done in by him, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he gets sprayed by the fear toxin, gets set on fire, and gets done in really. Well,
yeah, I guess that shows Batman progresses and learns from his fights and his mistakes. I mean, 'cause now that you mention it as well, if you think to the start of The Dark Knight, he has a fight with the mobsters, doesn't he, when they're doing a drug deal?
When
right at the start of Dark Knight,
in like the car park.
Yeah. And the dogs attack him.
Yeah.
And then straight after that, he goes to Fox like, "Can you change
something more mobile?
Something more mobile so that I can fight dogs."
That was actually something really interesting because that was like costume design changes between films.
Yeah.
And it's really good that they actually incorporated it into the film and not just went, okay, we're going to change up the look of the character. We're going to.
They just did it as like a practical.
Yeah, plot point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was good. Ra's al Ghul, Liam Neeson's one of my favourite actors in it, and I think he did a really good job of it, portraying Ra's al Ghul. But I did find it like a bit, I don't know, What was your thoughts on him?
As an actor and as a character, I think he was quite good, but the way it was kind of left really late, and it was obviously it was built up, and then it all just exploded, and then but that was it. It was foiled by Batman quite easily.
Yeah.
I mean, as a plot point, I'd say Ra's al Ghul should have been smarter.
Because like you say, it comes later. It's like introduced by like Scarecrow when he's captured. He's like, "Who do you work for?" Ra's al Ghul, he's dead. It goes on like that. But he's reintroduced when he sees him at the ball and then burns down his house.
Yeah.
And then he takes revenge on Bruce, even though he saved his life.
Yeah.
And then I'm never quite clear on why he's trying to destroy Gotham if he knows like Batman, because he obviously knows Bruce Wayne is Batman and he's trying to redo the city, but he says it's a lost cause.
He says something like because Batman has a no-kill rule, and that's quite evident in the entire trilogy. And Ra's al Ghul doesn't believe in that. The League of Shadows believes that if they have to kill, they have to, and they say that Gotham is
beyond saving.
It's beyond saving, and therefore there's no point in trying. So we'll just destroy it and start again. And obviously Batman doesn't want that at all, because that'd be going against his morals.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Not to skip ahead too much, we'll just stick on this for a brief thing. But in Dark Knight Rises, Bane and associated Talia are trying to finish his work, so to speak, by destroying Gotham. But it's weird because the city's improved, because like at the end of Dark Knight they incorporate like the Dent Act, which then causes a lot of prisoners to be primary to decrease, incarcerated. But they still want to carry it on, even though it's beyond saving. So it's a weird one that it keeps carrying on. Yeah,
maybe it's more of an emotional one rather than carrying on the creed. It's more like a revenge against Batman. And against Bruce Wayne, because they know that he killed Ra's al Ghul, and there's no way of denying that he didn't kill him. With that, I don't have to save you. You killed him. But so I guess that'd be like an emotional thing for Talia to find out that Batman killed her dad. So she'd rather destroy what he's done.
Yeah.
And completely undo his work. Or maybe they do actually think that Gotham, even with these improvements, is still beyond saving, because the same stuff keeps happening, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, I really like performances by both of them were incredible. Like I enjoyed both of them. Cillian Murphy and Liam Neeson did a great job of both, and I especially liked Liam Neeson's character during the first part of the film when he's acting as the mentor to Bruce Wayne. I think that was a really good segment of the film whilst he's training with the League of Shadows.
Yeah.
Because how does it start? It starts with him like getting in a fight in a prison, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's because he left Gotham, did he, to try and find about this mystical League of Shadows, to try and train to make, because he wants to make Gotham better. Yeah. And carry on in his dad's footsteps.
Yeah. Yeah.
But otherwise, I can't really remember much about.
Yeah,
because he starts going up the mountain and then he finds it.
Yeah, just I was there. Took a left turn. Should have took a right.
Yeah.
So going to obviously the biggest one of the three. Although, did Dark Knight Rises like make more money than it? I think it. I don't. Side point. I think it might have, but yeah. But going on to Dark Knight, obviously biggest villain of the film, obviously Joker.
Yeah.
And incredible performance. We spoke a lot about it in our first episode where we talked about Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix one that's out at the moment. But I think an underappreciated one is what Aaron Eckhart did for the Two-Face character.
Yeah,
I think he did just as an incredible job playing Two-Face as his Heath Ledger did. Your opinion?
Yeah, I think Two-Face was a really good character. I mean, I think he played it really well, but I feel like the movie maybe could have done a bit more with Two-Face.
In which part?
Well, it was near the end anyway, when he first started his revenge spree, didn't he? And then suddenly that's it, at the end he's died.
Yeah.
They could have made... I know obviously it's a film and they've got to try and keep it within that point, but maybe if they could have expanded on him a bit more, done a bit more, as like say the comics and everything, he's around for a lot longer, isn't he?
Yeah.
But when it comes to the story in the film, it's Two-Face in this is a really, really good character.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And watching him doing it. The effects as well were quite good.
They were
brilliant for the time.
It was a small thing when they first show him in the hospital.
Yeah.
Where he has his face turned and he turns back to Gordon and there's like pieces of skin on his pillow and such like. So I thought that was a really good touch because obviously it's just like dots on his face. So I think that was a really nice touch.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I sort of don't agree with like, because you're right with the plot of the film.
Yeah.
So it's like I think they did what they wanted to do with the character because the film was all about the Joker.
Yeah.
And the final part was like the final part of the Joker's plan.
Yeah. Okay.
Which was Two-Face, which was Harvey Dent being this pinnacle.
Yeah.
And taking him down as the last part of his plan, and is a good.
Yeah.
Like climax of the film and climax of the Joker's plan.
So instead of destroying the city or having the city destroy itself, it had its shining, White Knight destroy himself.
I think those are the exact words that he uses. Yeah, it is the Joker's film, isn't it?
Yeah,
and everything,
it is,
even the second villain of Two-Face is part of his
plan.
But yeah, we'll just go briefly over like the Joker. I know we've spoken a lot about it in the first podcast, but he did such an incredible job with it, Heath Ledger, and especially when I think he was mainly known for like Brokeback Mountain and another film that I can't remember.
I remember it well. I remember him in The Patriot. There was another big one, but I can't remember its name.
I
know we'll get absolutely rinsed for that one.
But universally known and certified and known because he won a post Oscar for it. Just his performance. And the thing I enjoyed about his character the most was as it is in the comics, the reverse side of Batman.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing this to mess with him and have fun whilst doing it. And there's nothing that Batman can do about it.
No.
Best example of that is within the interrogation room where he's going, you've got nothing that you can do to me because I'm enjoying this. You can knock me about. Dent literally cracks his head against the reinforced glass of the interrogation room and he's just having a laugh about it because there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, just the relation, like the interaction between him and Bale in the film and the character itself was just...
They could just do it forever.
Yeah.
The Joker could definitely do that forever.
That's actually brought up something I was going to say, actually, was... I'm imagining, like, if Ledger hadn't died, I wouldn't have wanted him to come back. But I think he might have.
Yeah. Well, obviously, he got captured at the end, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got arrested. So I reckon they could have brought him back maybe in The Dark Knight Rises as being in the asylum.
Yeah. I think that's what would have happened, but I wouldn't have wanted it.
No.
I know this is all hypothetical situations, but I like the separation between it. Like the first film was Batman and the League of Shadows. Second film was the Joker film, and third film was post Joker film. It's each of them separated, and there's no real. Obviously, it's a chronological story, but they're all their separate things that you remember individually.
But if you think about it, the Scarecrow comes back a few times.
Oh yeah, I know. Like in the second film in the car park, and
he's in the third one as well as the judge.
Oh yeah, he is into on that big stack of
paper and desks and everything. Yeah. So I reckon they probably would have brought him back.
Yeah,
maybe, but not in a massive role again.
Yeah.
He probably would have been in the asylum. Maybe when obviously Bane let them all out. Could have seen him go and doing his thing, but maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Oh god, that sounds horrific.
But then again, he wasn't in that prison, was he? Because that prison was just a normal one for the dead bats. It wasn't actually the asylum.
Asylum, yeah. Yeah, who knows? Alternate universe and all that, isn't it? So yeah, great performances from both of them. Like the pinnacle of like Harvey Dent's scene in it was when he's right at the end when he's with Gordon and Batman, and he's like, it's not about what I want, it's about what's fair.
Yeah.
And it's that emotional scene when he's shouting that. I thought that was one of the best pieces of acting in the film.
Well, that's how it's always been with him, right? About fairness.
Yeah.
And obviously that coin,
Double-sided.
the double-sided coin, which during the fight...
double-headed coin, sorry, not double-sided, because all coins are
all coins are double-sided.
Double-headed. Yeah,
Double-headed coin that obviously was burnt in the fire. So obviously that gave it its mark, and that's another part of it, yeah. Very, very good little details there, isn't it?
Well, it's all like brought up throughout the film into like using the coin and then starting the court case, excuse me,
to get what he wants. Yeah,
and obviously the most famous quote of the film is, "The die here or live long enough to see yourself become a villain."
Yeah,
most quoted line of the entire franchise, I believe.
Yeah,
but just the setup for it, and I didn't really read. I've never read comics really, and I've never really looked into it prior to watching the films. So people obviously knew Harvey Dent by name, would have known he was Two-Face.
Yeah.
But obviously I didn't when watching it, and it was just great setup for the character throughout the whole film.
Like you said, I've never really read the comics, but I knew who he was because I've kind of seen it.
Yeah, you hear.
Yeah, so...
so yeah, that's the first two, and last one is obviously Dark Knight Rises. Now this is a weird one because it's technically two films, but we were speaking about this just before we started, like because the two characters are Bane and Talia, and although Talia is technically like the mastermind behind everything, I think anyway, Bane was just the villain,
the main one.
He was just the villain, like. Tom Hardy just absolutely smashed that character, especially when like the traditional view of like Bane was just this muscle bound thing, and he's just portrayed this super intelligent criminal who physically what's the word for him? Outdoes Batman. There's a better word for that. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
Especially in that first fight scene when they interact, and he's just like playing with him basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, I completely agree with you. Bane is definitely the main villain of that film, and the film and Christopher Nolan obviously makes you believe that he's that main villain for the entire of the film until like the last 15 minutes of that.
Yeah,
because it's always hinted that he's Ra's al Ghul's child.
Yeah, with all the flashbacks and everything.
With all the flashbacks saying that he's the one that escaped. People say that as well and believe it until you finally find out that it's Talia. But that's it. That's obviously the twist at the end. But the entire film has made you believe that Bane is the main one. Yeah. So that's obviously, it's kind of taken the limelight away from Talia. Yeah. And you don't obviously find out until the end that it's her, and that Bane is actually her like protector, her right hand man. But that's never hinted.
It's not. It's definitely not hinted at. But there's always that. There was that niggling thing throughout the whole film when he goes, and someone in the public has got the detonator. Yeah. That's not saying that that's a hint towards all the Ra's al Ghul stuff. Yeah. That's just like there was always something in the film. Which is like, so who's actually got like? Yeah. There's some twist coming because he's giving it to some randomer. And some randomer just wouldn't destroy the city, would it? It'd be someone that's actually knowing what's going on. Yeah. But again, it's said, but then from there it's not really hinted much about who it could be until you finally find out that it's Talia. I love like his personality as well throughout the film. Like obviously the brutal aspect is portrayed as you would expect it from the character, but it's also like the polite, like the little polite things that he does, like in the stock exchange when he like gives someone his helmet and afterwards takes go, thank you. He's just like how something like he's just beaten up like several women and men and security guards and killed some people. He's just like, thank you. Yeah. Just a little humour to the character. Yeah. But in a way, couldn't that make him more terrifying? Yeah, because he's just like switches it up every now and again. Because you don't know if he says thank you, could he attack you? Oh, and what was the other one? It was with the after they made a mess of, like, because that's why they went to the stock exchange, which was to mess up Bruce Wayne's holdings, so he basically got skint. For those listening, skint means like broke or no much money, because I don't know how known skint is outside of Britain. But when he's with that member of the board, a competitor, wasn't it, who hired Bane to mess up the holdings of companies so he could absorb Wayne Enterprises, was, he says, I paid you a lot of money to do this, and he goes, and you think that gives me power over you? Or power over me?
Yeah.
And it's like that switch up when he's like, when the business guy's like, this is a killer who I've thought I'm gonna control by paying a lot of money, and he's just like, no,
you haven't read that right, have you?
Yes.
You just thought people are controlled by money all the time, when that's not his purpose.
So Bane was a really good character, and I don't know. Have you had the feeling that the third one doesn't get a lot of, like, it doesn't get as much love as like the second one or the first one?
I'd say so. I definitely think people thought that obviously The Dark Knight Rises is trying to overshadow The Dark Knight, but in reality it's kind of impossible. And people love The Dark Knight too much.
Yeah.
So they were trying to hold The Dark Knight Rises to its standard.
Yeah, that's the point.
And maybe they were just disappointed.
Yeah.
I guess they'd probably be disappointed that obviously there's no Joker or anything.
Yeah.
But you've got to work with what you've got, and people need to expect maybe less from other films. I mean, it kind of happens all the times with trilogies and sequels, doesn't it? They expect the same standards from the first film or the film that came before, and then they get disappointed. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's still a brilliant film, but people just don't like it as much. Yeah. Because
they're comparing it
to The Dark Knight. Yeah. And are disappointed that it doesn't match. Yeah. But it's got its own ways. It is his own film. Yeah. So
definitely. An interesting point that I wrote down when I was looking up is there was a little nod to the Riddler character in The Dark Knight, because the guy. Do you remember the guy who tries to blackmail Fox? Yes. He comes in and says, "I did some research," and so it's like, and his name is Mr. Reese. Yep. Mr. Reese, and that was a nod to the Riddler character, and also so that was an interesting one. That's also one of my favorite moments in the film, when he's just like, it's your client who's one of the richest, most powerful men who also beats people too, and you're going to try and blackmail this guy. Just like, good luck. Good luck with that. Oh, he's such a good. I look like Morgan Freeman's such a good actor, and I really liked his character throughout the films. I can't remember him too much in the third film, to be honest, but in the first and second film, he was such a really great addition, like part of the film. Addition, he was in the all three. But is there any of the side characters that you enjoyed? Like Fox was really good, and I think who played massive British phenomenal actor played Gordon.
Oh my! Oh, that's gonna
God.
You've messed me up there now.
Gary Oldman.
There you go.
Oh my God.
That's a bad one.
That's poor.
I do like Gary Oldman, but I prefer Alfred.
You prefer Alfred?
Michael Caine. Because he's always been there for Bruce. Yeah. And for Batman, he's his right-hand man as well. And he's known him
since before Born.
Yeah, and he's acted as the father figure for him and helping him through. And they are friends. Yeah. They are friends, and I really like his character of how he's always steering Bruce to do what's best. Yeah. He's trying to stop him from going down like a dark path. Yeah. And trying to tell him, know your limits. Yeah. And do only what you can do. I really like Alfred, and he was played really well by Michael Caine. Yeah. I mean, Michael Caine is a phenomenal actor.
Oh, definitely. Probably get onto him a bit later when he's in a couple of other Nolan films, but Michael Caine's an amazing actor, and he did a really good job of Alfred. A side point, I really enjoyed. Have you seen Batman v Superman?
No, I haven't actually. Yeah. I watched that. Yeah.
But even though I didn't really like the film too much, Jeremy Irons, do you know who that is?
I do,
yeah. He played Alfred, and I think he did a really good job of it. A different type of Alfred, but I think he did an amazing job as well. Some phenomenal side characters in it. What was the thing? Oh yeah, this was the second point of interesting when I did a bit of research, was before The Dark Knight came out, there were talks about doing a Justice League film. Yep. which they then shelved because after the popularity of The Dark Knight, and they wanted to focus on something they thought was secure, which was The Dark Knight Rises. It was interesting that the actor who they picked to play Batman in that Justice League film was the actor who plays the Winklevoss twins in Social Network.
Oh.
So I thought that was a random bit of trivia.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I think we've gone through everything. The only last thing I'd say is the ending. Was that real or not?
Yes.
You think so?
I believe so. There is no way that Bruce Wayne and Batman did not have a trick up their sleeve. And
you don't think it was just Alfred losing the plot?
No. I mean, it's kind of a bit of a coincidence how he's turned up at the same place in Italy But then, why would Alfred think that he can see Anne Hathaway?
No. I'm not saying either way. I'm just. Yeah. I know it's a.
That'd be a bit too far fetched because
an argued point.
I don't really remember Alfred and Anne Hathaway's character really meeting.
They'll research, though, won't they, or something like that?
Yeah, I guess, but I'd say it's definitely real.
Speaking of to do with Alfred, I think because of that long-term relationship, I think that's what made that confrontation in the third film that much bigger when he goes, you're going to go and fight this League of Shadows member who was extradited from the League because he was too dangerous.
Yeah.
That they knew at that point. I'm not going to follow you because you're going to end up in a ditch.
Yeah. So
I thought that was a good...
Another part of the thing where we won't follow him blindly.
So, yeah. A great series of films, and Christopher Nolan did an absolutely incredible job with those 3 films. And yeah, I think that'll be the last time we'll probably speak about Batman for a while. Until maybe the Robert Pattinson one comes out.
Maybe so,
which should be... What are we going to go on to next? I'd say Inception. Because
let's do it.
This is one that you've not seen since... you watched it last week,
I've watched it. Finally watched it. It's been years and I've put it off.
When did it come out? 2012?
Yeah, 2012. And I've now watched it last week.
Initial thoughts?
I really like it. I really like it. It's an interesting concept and a very in-depth concept that they did really well. They executed it really well.
Yeah.
The thing that I find about, obviously, when people see Inception and stuff, they say it's a bit confusing. Oh, it's a dream within a dream. How weird is that and everything? I don't understand it. But it's like I was thinking after it. I was like, well, I enjoyed it and I thought about it, and it's not as confusing as you think.
Yeah.
You can get a rat thinking about it quite easily. I mean, obviously the concept of breaking into someone's dreams is weird and obviously sci-fi, but it works. And
sci-fi that we know.
Sci-fi, yeah. Well, and then a dream within a dream to try and plant an idea in someone's mind. It's a very interesting concept. Yeah. And I really, really like it. And how it's all, the effects of everything, how they do it as a profession. I mean, it's a brilliant film.
And I think they do a really good job with the character of, I wrote her name down, Ariadne, as the person, the audience goes through to explain it all. Yeah. They take her through, she's obviously the architect for the dreams, but she's also the one that the audience views it through to understand how the dreams work. Yeah. So I think that was really good. But the visual, it won the Academy Award for visual effects and a few other things like sound design, sound editing, which deservedly because they're all incredible. But was there any visual parts that you found stood out for you?
I'd say the part when she's gone into when she knows that she's finally in a dream with Cobb.
Is that Ariadne?
Yeah.
Oh, is this the cafe scene?
Yeah, well, it's kind of that one's a good scene. I like that, but the part when she asks what happens if you mess with the physics of the world, and then it just starts to fold up.
Oh, okay.
And go on, and then everything just carries on as normal.
And they drive up the wall.
Yeah,
literally
drives up the wall. Or the part where she's on the bridge.
Oh, and it forms in front of her.
Well, no, when she closes, the mirrors.
Oh yeah.
And then she touches one and it breaks, and then suddenly that's it. They're in that place. That's a good. I like those scenes. Whereas you've got say the the ones where they're going between the dreams, it's just a cut out to the next place.
Yeah.
I mean, because obviously they're going into a new dream, you're not going to know where you started, are you?
Yeah.
But those are the ones that definitely stood out for me. I mean, really, the entire film stood out because it's just amazing.
It's good. I actually, because obviously you've watched it this last week after me pestering you to do so.
Yeah.
But I'd actually not seen it in a while, so I had to read up on it the last couple of days just to make sure that I remembered it all. And one thing that I knew, but I'd sort of forgotten is it's all about characters, but the actual goal of the movie is for a competitor to make his competitor's son break up the company so he can have a better position in the...
Yeah.
That's
it's literally corporate greed.
Yeah, that's the actual objective, and I thought that was funny.
It's a very simple objective done through a very
I just found that funny.
over the top means,
setting aside everything that happens with the characters, because that's what I wanted to say. The film is about characters, irrespective of all the sci-fi of it.
But it all started off because one architect messed up with what a rug was made of.
Which one was that?
Well, at the start, obviously, they were trying to steal the plans for expansion of Saito's business, weren't they?
Yeah.
And they did a dream within a dream.
Yeah.
And when he obviously thought that he'd woken up and he was in that dream within a dream.
Yeah.
And they were in his private apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And they threw him to the floor and said, "What are your plans?" And he was like, "I've had my face to this rug many a time, and it's made out of wool, but this one's polyester. I'm still dreaming."
Yeah.
Those little details. I mean, all of this entire film made because someone made a mess of the rug.
It's also good because Saito planned it all, didn't he? He wanted this to be done to him. He hired them to do this so that he could then do it with again, Cillian Murphy's character.
Yep. Christopher Nolan likes to use the same.
He does, doesn't he?
Same people.
Because Michael Caine is in it again. And he's also in Interstellar. We'll talk about it in a bit. But he's a fan of the same people, isn't he?
Yeah.
This is a bit of an embarrassing one, but before we did this, we also planned to talk about a film called Shutter Island, which we didn't realise until the last minute is by Martin Scorsese. So that was a bit of a mistake, but I would have...
Whoops.
Well, I did... One of the main things I thought it was Nolan, obviously because of the way the film is, but mainly because DiCaprio's in it. It's the main character. So that was a bit of an embarrassing
Messed up that one.
Yeah. But talk about the characters of the film. Cobb, DiCaprio did a good job of him. I enjoyed his character, especially holding stuff back throughout the whole film until you have the revelation at the end of his, because you just think it's his psychotic wife who
is trying to foil him
at every turn, and then it's only whilst they're in limbo, I think, or is it in limbo that they do it, or is it in the fourth dream state?
Where he sorts himself out,
because they're in the apocalyptic dream
that's
place.
Limbo,
right? So it's only then when it reveals he did Inception on his wife sort of accidentally, where he forced her to... I don't need to say spoilers because I've gone through a few things anyway, but where he spins her totem within the lowest level of her mind to make her believe that limbo for them is not real, and so they should kill themselves, which will then wake them up. But by doing that, also cause Inception on her to make her believe that in the real world was still not real.
Yeah.
So I think that held backness, it's a rubbish way to put it, but
he held back from trying to actually do Inception because he thought it would mess up too much, didn't he?
And it was an interesting part of his character that, because throughout the film you pretty much think she's just some psychotic apparition of his subconscious, but you find out it's his guilt from doing that to her, basically. I also... Oh, go on.
I was just going to say that she obviously she pops up at any critical moment when they're going to be going through the story, and obviously that shows how much guilt he's actually got with it. And it's been years since she died, and obviously he's still not been able to grieve properly or sort himself out and forgive himself.
Yeah, it's... And I can't remember. I watched a few like YouTube clips to like remember it sort of type. But one of the things he says at the end when he finally gets over it, so to speak, was even though you're this apparition of like my subconscious, you're still not the real Mal.
Yeah.
Like you're just how
you are an apparition.
Yeah.
Apparition. Yeah.
So and she did a really good job of Ella. Like throughout the whole film, like you really believe she's like this femme fatale character who's just out to kill them all, basically.
Yeah. What film was she in?
I don't know. What was she in?
She's Talia.
Is she?
She's Talia, yeah.
Is she? Oh my god, how did I not know that?
Have you not noticed? It's Talia. See,
Is it?
another one.
Bennett. No, I didn't even notice.
Think of the faces. It's Talia.
Yeah, good point. Well, she did a solid job in... I thought it was a bit... Well, she did a good job in Dark Knight Rises, but obviously Inception, she did an incredible job.
Christopher Nolan loving his same characters
again.
again.
Good point, yeah. I did not even think about that.
Yeah. Same year as well, wasn't it?
It was 2012, yeah.
2012.
Both of them came out. Yeah. Two birds, one stone.
Exactly, yeah.
That's it. Well, one bird, two stones. I don't know how that works.
However Inception wants to work.
And friggin' second character I was going to bring up then, Justin Gordon-Levitt. Friggin' Robin.
Oh god, yeah.
And
another
2012.
one.
Oh, you've got this so easy, Christopher. Jesus, you just use the same people.
Right, guys, we finished Dark Knight Rises over to Inception.
Let's go. Let's get a taxi over to the studio. I don't know if it's the same studio actually, so it could just be like the other.
Over we go.
Over to the other room, so we could just film this like rainy season. My favourite character in Inception though was Eames, played by Tom Hardy.
Yeah,
he was my favourite character. You?
I do like him.
Yeah.
I think I have to agree with you on that one. I do like Eames.
Oh, it was so many like eloquent, like he speaks so eloquently throughout the film. Like he's got so many good moments. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really say much more. I could, but it's just my favourite character in the film.
Yeah, some of the other characters are kind of a bit forgettable.
Yeah,
in a way.
Like Saito they get rid of pretty quickly, don't they?
Yeah.
Like he does a good job, Ken Watanabe, but yeah, he does.
And then that doctor as well. Can't remember his name. The one that helps him get.
Oh yeah, Yusuf I think he's called. But yeah, I didn't even write him down to be honest because he was just such a side thing of it. Not to say he didn't do a good job, but just he's not like key. Although saying that, it was, like he obviously causes the medication to cause them to go into limbo if they die, which Cobb conveniently brings up when they're actually in the dream. Oh yeah, but by the way, if you die, you're going to be caught in this eternity of dream.
Yep. So have fun.
Have fun. But was there anyone else wanted to bring up? I don't think so. Eames was like the main guy. But speaking of, just go back to Cobb and Mal again. Like the thought of, because I think we'll bring this up a bit again when we're talking about time dilation in Interstellar. But the fact that they spent a few hours in this dream state when they went into limbo and they were 50 years.
Yeah. Just
the concept of waking up, having a brain that's had 50 years of experience and your body's only
a few hours older.
Yeah. It's just a crazy thought, to be honest.
It's a hard one to wrap around your head, isn't it? I mean, because now Cobb is an old man to himself. Definitely. He's going to be in his 80s in his mind.
Yeah.
Whereas he's only in like a 30-year-old's body. Yeah. It does mess with your head a little bit, and that was it when he said he forgave himself for what he did, because every time his apparition was like, you said we'd be together. He's like, yeah, we've had our time. Yeah. And it's now time to let you go.
Yeah. So just like I say, I think we're gonna bring up a little bit in Interstellar, but just that idea, just living an entire life, and then it coming back and you're a few days off, like a few hours older.
Well, it's the same with Saito, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's only a few hours older. He's literally on the plane, but he's 50 odd years,
living
60
an entire
years.
like he's in later stage of his life.
Very old man.
Okay, so if he died from like old age, like he literally like just died from old age, would that then wake him up from limbo?
Yes.
Because at the end of the film, I mean, because it doesn't show it, but I assume like they shoot themselves. Yeah. So it's like to get out of it. But if he died from old age, you would similarly.
He's died.
Yeah.
So I'd assume then, he should have just come straight out of it. Don't know why he didn't try and kill himself beforehand.
it's that thing he says. Cobb says like, "You're there for that long, you forget it's a dream."
Yeah.
Onto. Which is again one of the main points, like where Mal loses it a bit, like during both of them do when they're 50 years, like. But you do have a point, really. Like if they knew, like they're in limbo and such, like
when they first get in there,
not just to put the head in front of a train, which they end up doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'd probably have to watch it again because there's probably a reason, but yeah,
because it's the same as they needed a kick, didn't they?
Yeah.
So he didn't even need to kill himself; he just needed to fall.
Yeah.
But then again, it's kind of the same. Like if you need just to jump off a cliff or something, that's still killing yourself.
Yeah. Because like Ariadne jumps off like that in limbo, in different limbo, like jumps off the top of that skyscraper, doesn't she?
Yeah.
To do with visual effects, like the differences that they put into the film between each different dream level, so you knew exactly where they, exactly where they were. Like for the first one, they did that pouring down LA scene. The second one was the hotel.
Yep.
And the third one was the snowy hospital. And technically the fourth one was then the apocalyptic
city.
Skyscrapers and everything. Yeah. Everything's flooded. But looks a bit like Edge of Tomorrow. Not Edge of Tomorrow, because that's the other one. Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really good. Like, such a visual change to know exactly, like, as you say,
where you are.
Making the audience keep track of where they are when it is. It's a movie like made to be a bit confusing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good way how they visually told the audience where they are. Like, hotel equals second level.
Yeah.
Hospital is third level. So I thought that was really good.
And then limbo is the apocalypse setting.
Yeah.
That Cobb and Mal made.
Yeah. Something popped in. Oh, that's what it was. Back in. Was the fight scene during the zero gravity part.
Yep.
In the hotel, which I thought was really well done. And an interesting thing of that was one of the X-Men, I'm pretty sure it was X-Men Apocalypse, was going to do a similar scene. Have you seen X-Men Apocalypse?
I haven't.
There's a scene with like Apocalypse, which you've probably seen, like the blue guy.
Yep.
And Professor X. They were going to do like a mental fight similar to that, and I'm pretty sure they pulled it because like
they saw
Inception did that.
Yeah.
But that scene was really well done, and it'd be interesting to know how they did that, probably with wires and everything. But
a lot of camera movement maybe as well.
But I really liked that aspect. Something a bit separate, but I would be interested in is: have you ever lucid dreamed?
Not that I mean, no, I don't think I have. Why have you?
Yeah, I have it quite relatively regularly, but I don't know. I'm just interested because I only recently found out it's not a common thing.
Yeah.
And this is like, it's an interesting aspect because it's like Ariadne, when she's first getting introduced to the world, it's pretty much what anyone would do if they woke up in a dream. Like they would just
lucid dreaming is where you think that you're in the real world, don't you?
Lucid dreaming's when you know you're dreaming. I think that, well, I don't know, there's arguments between them. Like, there's people who argue over definitions. Like, one aspect is when you believe you're dreaming, whilst you believe you're awake when you're dreaming. Another one's when you know you're dreaming, but you know you're dreaming whilst you're in the dream. Okay. Mine's the second one, but first one is a common one. And
yeah, I think I've definitely had the first one when I'm pretty sure I was absolutely sure that I was in the real world, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
But I've never had the second one where I know I'm dreaming.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just an interesting point. Oh, I think we've all had that one where it's like been to work, done something, then woken up and just gone, oh, I thought I'd just done a day.
Yeah, I think I did that last week. I literally had it last week.
Done like a day of work.
Yeah, and then woke up, I was like, oh,
got to go to work again.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure in my dream, like I thought I'd messed something up really badly. Yeah. And then I woke up, I was like, oh, that's good. Haven't done that.
It's like a little bit of fortune telling right there.
Yeah. Ooh, don't do that today then.
You're just like, in work later that day, just like, I know where this situation's going.
Yeah. Let's don't do this.
I think we've gone a good way through that ending. I think a good way to finish, as we did with the other one.
Yep, ending.
Opinion?
It's a very good ending. Finally, Cobb is able to go home.
You know what I'm asking, though, don't you?
I know what you're asking. I'm leading up to it. Don't you worry. But he finally gets to see his children's faces, which have obviously been hidden from us the entire film.
Yep.
And then obviously he spins the top to see whether he's dreaming. Well, there's the thing though. He spins it, but he doesn't wait. So it's the thing of, does he care if he's in a dream or not?
Yeah.
But obviously it cuts to it before you fully know. I don't think he was dreaming. I think he's definitely in the real world, because obviously they were on the plane, they've woken up from it, they've done what they had to do.
Yeah.
He's come through, and I was watching the top just before. I was watching the whole thing as it was going. I didn't care about anything else.
Sod him and the kids.
Sod him and the kids. I was watching that top,
yeah,
and it was definitely about to topple as the screen went to black. So he's not dreaming. My opinion.
So much like conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
I was watching it with a microscope.
I was watching it, and it was just starting to topple.
Went frame by frame.
Yeah, it was just starting to topple as the screen went black. So
yeah,
that's what I think. What about you?
I think he wasn't dreaming, but I find it interesting. What Nolan said about the ending was the important part isn't that he's dreaming or he's not dreaming. It's the fact that he's not looking at it anymore.
No, sorry, yeah.
That he's stuck. That he's spin it, and every time he's done that during the film, he's checking that he's dreaming or not. But in this case, he's span it and said, "I don't care anymore. I'm just going to go and
go and see my kids."
Yeah, and it was wobbling anyway.
Exactly. So he's not dreaming. He's home.
Another one that I read by people who have that interest in the film was his totem was his wedding ring, and the fact that when he's always dreaming, he has his wedding ring on, but when he's not dreaming, he doesn't appear. Instead, in the final scene, he doesn't have a wedding ring on.
Oh,
so
never noticed that.
I didn't either. It's some people who've got friggin' hawk eyes.
Yeah. Well, they go through the entire thing, watching it, seeing like.
So, thank you for those guys who love doing that. Not to say I don't do that, because I like arguing about films and such like. But anything else on Inception?
No, I think we've covered it quite well.
Yeah,
I'd watch it again, but not just yet. Other things to watch.
Yeah. So let's finish off with Interstellar. So I think this is your favourite of the group, isn't it?
Yes. I really like Interstellar.
What's the part that like sets it apart for you?
I think, well, when it comes to films, I do like space and sci-fi films, and I think I like about Interstellar a lot is how they try and keep to physics, like real life physics.
Like they're not breaking any laws.
They're not breaking laws. They're doing it properly, not like some sci-fi films. I mean, like, I love Star Wars.
Yeah,
absolutely love Star Wars. One of my favourite film franchises ever.
Yeah,
but it still annoys me when I see certain stuff that was like, yeah, that'll never happen.
Go on, give us an example for people to yell at you.
Sound. You're never going to hear sound in space. So all the lasers and the ship movements and the explosions doesn't happen. It's just going to be nothing.
I find it funny that they change their own. Of course, we know it's a film, and they take creative liberties because it's meant to be entertaining, and it's a science fiction film. It's not a film like Interstellar, because Interstellar made it so that it wanted to be proper. I've got some writing of how they brought in experts to try and make this as scientifically factual as possible. But with this thing I was going to looping around to Star Wars is they did all these explosions, sort of like, and then in the most recent Star Wars film, have you seen it, The Last Jedi?
Yeah.
There's that hyperspace scene where she tears through.
Yeah.
And they do it in silence.
No sound at all, is there?
Which is right, but every other example that they've done previously has been boom.
Yeah.
Sort of like. Although I didn't really like the movie that much, but I really enjoyed that scene.
Yeah.
Like it was the zero music just did it.
Very dramatic, wasn't it?
So much better. But anyway, this isn't the Star Wars one. That'll probably be another time when 9 comes out. But one of the best, and this, like Inception, won the best visual Academy Award. Such amazing visuals that they did. Like, I don't think anyone's arguing with that.
No.
And it was interesting, speaking on the science of it, like the image of the black hole within the film, they calculated that. Well, like they brought in scientists to calculate what an image of a black hole would look like. And interestingly enough, the recent apparent black hole photography was pretty similar, I'd say.
Yeah. It's all the case of where it is, isn't it? I mean, because what it's doing is sucking in light from the nearest stars, isn't it?
Yeah.
So obviously you're going to be able to see it. I mean, if there was a black hole with no stars about, you're not going to see a thing.
Yeah.
So that definitely does work. I mean, it's very visually stunning, but proper. It's done. It's done right.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, which is aside from the scientific aspect, is the concept of Cooper having to leave his kids to do this theoretical mission.
Yeah.
Do you think he was right to leave? Getting a bit of moral stuff in there? Because obviously his son gets really bitter about it.
Yeah. Well, both his kids get really bitter about it.
Yeah.
But one, he never thought he'd be away for so long.
True.
I mean, because that first planet mashed them all up a little bit.
Yeah.
But otherwise, wasn't he told that he was one of the only ones that could do it?
For some reason.
Yeah. Because he was one of the best pilots they had.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to save the world. I mean, sometimes you've got to make sacrifices. I mean, obviously it's horrible. He's got to leave his kids behind. But again, like I said, he never thought he'd be away for so long.
Yeah. Let's go on to that planet for a sec. Because I think you enjoyed that. That aspect. Do you want to go a bit? Yeah.
So the thing about the first planet was I looked into it afterwards and I was like, it does work. I mean, because they were told by that first pioneer.
Sorry, we'll just the first planet, just for those who can't remember the film, is the wave planet, in which every so often a massive wave comes around, and whilst they're there, there's like a time dilation. So for every period of time that they spend there, I think it's like for every hour, every hour is.
Was it 12 years?
I think every hour was 7 years.
7 years.
And they were there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
So they were there for 3 hours, and they spent about 23 years there. They spent 23 years there. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
So that's where they are. So sorry, carry on.
Yeah. So the way I saw it, I mean, thinking of the scientific aspect of it, I mean, obviously they left the pioneers that were looking for the habitable planets. How far back did they leave? They left Earth about. I think it was about 12 years before.
I think so. Around that.
Yeah, so it was 12 years before, and they got to the planets by about 9 years.
Yeah.
So when they actually got onto this planet, it had literally been minutes.
Yeah.
Before, because we were told, so 9 years ago we got the signal to say that this planet was habitable. And then 6 years later, the signal just broke. Yeah, broke away. So they get onto the planet and they realise it was. I mean, this is a plot point that I think kind of hurts the film a bit. There, they should have realised what that happened on that planet.
Yeah. Well, when they knew
about the time difference, they should have known. Hang on a minute. So I can't remember the astronaut that went there. She's only been there for really about an hour. And then about 20 minutes later, the signal's gone.
Well, they say that when they get on, the wave that they see going away from them is the one that's just killed.
Yeah.
That ship, that's astronaut and associated ship.
Yeah, but away that planet actually, it works because the more gravity there is, or the more speed you're going at, something I think it's more gravity, isn't it?
Yeah.
The longer time stretches.
Yeah.
So the closer to the black hole you're going to get, the longer it's going to take.
Which is also why
time is going to be.
Which is also why later in the film, when Cooper goes near that, goes into the black hole, it goes another 50 years. But we'll go on to that in a sec.
Yeah, but then it's the case of obviously because that planet is so close to the black hole, they're going to get a massive gravitational pull. So it's going to be like the moon to us. Yeah. It's going to have a massive impact on its tidal waves. Yeah. And so obviously the moon is nowhere near as big as this black hole. So this black hole is going to have a massive effect.
Or the gravitational effect of the black hole is much bigger than the moon is for us.
So basically those waves are in comparison to the gravitational pull
and difference
on that planet. So it works. It really
the science of it.
The science of it is all there.
Yeah,
and it just baffles you how weird space and time can be, and how time can get stretched.
And how it can be messed with when you just think of time as a progressional thing, second to second, and whilst effects in the universe can mess with that.
Yeah, well, it's like obviously we're trying to get as fast as possible when it comes to space and everything, but the closer you get, like the fastest you can go is the speed of light.
Yeah, theoretically,
but the closer the closer to the speed of light you get, the longer time stretches.
Yeah,
it's very weird.
It's interesting.
Yeah, so it just baffles your mind, doesn't it? I mean, time you'd think on here is a constant line.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously it's still going to stay constant, but it doesn't. But it can be stretched.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
It is a very weird one, but I like it.
Yeah, I'd love to get to have a natter, because you can obviously like listen to podcasts with the respected scientists and read articles and stuff. So it'd be interesting to have a sit down with someone who knows the stuff.
A little better than us.
Yeah, basically better than a bit of Google and a bit of science articles. But yeah, the first planet. Yeah, he told me that you really enjoyed that first planet, and it's a bit gutting for. Yeah, the one thing, because that guy on that planet died for no reason, didn't he?
Oh yeah, Doyle.
Yeah, because she was just like, no, must get the data at the risk of the other guy's life at the end of it.
Yeah, sorry, there's a wave coming, right? Don't want the data, we're not staying here. Off we go.
In fairness, Cooper could have just said, because I know he messes about a bit, he goes, please return to the ship now, this is an emergency, please. No, there's a big sodding wave coming, you're going to get smushed, get back there.
Turn around, look what's coming at you.
I know. Yeah, basically. So yeah, they were on for 23 years, and then when Cooper goes to do the black hole stuff, and when he because when they do the slingshot thing around the black hole for what's the female co-pilot's name?
Brand.
When she, because she's the one who then goes off to the third habitual planet, because Cooper sods off into the black hole.
Well, they didn't have enough fuel.
Yes, they're doing that slingshot, and when they were doing that slingshot mode, they had to go nearer the black hole, and then that dilated time again by another 50 years, which is why Cooper meets Smurf when she's dying, or when she's
about to die. Yeah, she's that old.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with this, but it was just again,
it's the time stretches and everything.
An interesting example of that time dilation. But what was it? So. Tell us about the first one. Third one, we just know that her boyfriend, partner?
Yeah, I think it was her partner was one of the astronauts that went to that third planet. I can't remember his name, but they obviously, after that first planet, they only had enough fuel to get to one of the others.
Yeah.
And they had to make a choice between the two. And Cooper thought that it would be better to go for the other one, where, what was his name? The
Mans,
played by Matt Damon.
Yep.
Thought that his would be more credible than hers, and that she would be thinking, we'll go to this planet instead, because that's where my partner is.
Yeah.
Going over it with emotion rather than thinking about it. So obviously they chose the
scientist guy.
The scientist guy, Mans, and
he turns out to be a bit of a
proved wrong.
Bit of a git, to be honest. Yeah. Who, for those who can't remember, like he falsified the data that he sent out so that he'd be rescued.
Yeah.
So I think Matt Damon needs to avoid space, to be honest, because the amount of films that he's been.
he's not had a good time.
No,
has he?
Because it's this one, The Martian.
The Martian, and
there's another one. I'm pretty sure there's one out at the minute that he's in. Astra something. I'm pretty sure there's another one out where he's gone off into space, and I'm sure he'll get rescued at some point. But,
is it Ad Astra?
Yeah, that's it.
Ad Astra.
I'm pretty sure I've seen an article at some point in the last year or so when someone's actually worked out the cost like
of rescuing him.
rescuing Matt Damon from space. I'm positive there's an article out there, so someone please Google that, because that definitely, like, I've definitely seen that.
That Ad Astra, just as a point, I like how they've called it that, because it's Latin for to the stars.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because I remember that because of the RAF's motto, which is per adra ad astra, which is through adversity to the stars.
To infinity and beyond, you say?
Yeah. So to the stars, it's quite just those little things.
So, an interesting thing was to do with the music, because it's got won. I think it won an Academy Award, or it was at least nominated for the sound design of it. An interesting piece I found was Hans Zimmer, who was the guy who did the music for the film. Christopher Nolan didn't provide him a script of the movie. No. He gave him a single page and said, provided a single page of a film leaving his child.
Yeah.
And that's what he gave him to create the music, which was... Could have gone wrong.
It's mad, isn't it?
Could have ended badly, but obviously made one of the best soundtracks of that year, and up to now, I'd say. I don't really know where I want to go with this, because I want to, like, read through, like, the plot of it, because I read, like I say, I've not watched this in a while, and it was only when I read through I was just like, oh yeah, that happened. But the main plan of it, where Michael Caine, again, Christopher Nolan, getting that recycling out.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael, can you nip from Dark Knight Rises? We're just going to go to another room. We're going to do Inception, and then after you're done with that, can you just nip over and do a bit of Interstellar for us? When was it? When was Interstellar? 2014?
2014. Yeah. 5 years ago.
Oh, so he had a bit of a break then. Yeah. But when he was sent off, there was two plans. There was Plan A, which was where they wanted to get some data from sending these guys out near this wormhole in order to develop some sort of technology that they could do some mass exodus of the planet, so that people who were going to die on the planet could go to these planets where they could live.
Terraform them.
And the second, and Plan B, was the Endurance, which was the ship that Cooper, Brand, all of them lot were on, had 5,000 cryogenically frozen people who were going to themselves terraform and take a planet. And during the film, Murph, when she grows up, finds out that he believed that Plan A was doomed from the start, and Plan B was the only one, and accused Cooper of knowing this and sobbing off on them, which was where a bit of bitterness came from. And then at the end of it, by going into this quantum realm, finds out this, gets the information, sends the information from the robot Tars, I think his name is. Tars. And then she manages to create this propulsion device to get them all off.
Well, they do it through... It's the ones that came later, innit? Like, the evolved humans that can change gravity, like, can change time.
Like fourth dimensional beings, isn't it? Something like that.
So, obviously, he goes into the black hole, and they kind of... This is where people got confused.
Okay, let's finish this on, like, the ending part, like we've done with all three of them, because he likes to doing a good ending.
It's people seem to get confused by this, especially because, like, I spoke to this about my dad, and he doesn't like it anymore, like the film anymore. He liked it up until the ending point, because he didn't.
I think a lot of people.
Yeah, he didn't get it, and I was like, he's like, yeah, but that's never going to happen in a black hole, is it? I was like, well, you don't actually know.
No one knows.
No one knows what's inside a black hole. I mean, it's a massive gravitational thing. Like, you're never going to get out if you go into one. But this is the thing of, like, these fourth dimensional beings are giving him the tools. I mean, because he said, oh, it's just all a load of bookcases. Why are there going to be bookcases in a black hole? It's like, well, what they're doing is they're showing different times of her life in her bedroom. Yeah. And you can just use gravity to change everything. It's a brilliant, like, plot. Like, it's all along, everything that she's ever done and accomplished has been from her dad helping her. Yeah. But it's the fact of also at the start of the film, when before he leaves, some of this stuff is noticed. Yeah. Like, that what he's done.
Because like, this is me grasping from the start of the film, but once it, like, there was some dust thing shaped by gravity. Yeah. That, well, you know, it's shaped by gravity at the end, but shade that, like, influences her, and it's only at the end of the film that you realise it's Cooper. He
made it. Was it like Numbers? Yeah, it was Numbers, I believe. So it's like, and he's done it at the end, and he's like, oh, That's pretty good.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed the film. I know it's your favourite. I enjoyed it, the scientific aspect of it, and I know they did their homework properly on the entire film. I read a bit about it and saying that one of the scientists they brought on, he had like a 2 week long argument because a plot point in it was they were going to have a character going faster than the speed of light.
No.
And yeah, that's what the scientist said. Like he argued with Nolan for 2 weeks about it, and in the end he dropped it.
Don't be doing that.
The thing with like the fourth dimensional stuff is because although we, like say, we're just people who are fan of science and fan of films and such like, so I don't know too much about four dimensional stuff, but we have like tesseracts that we know of, quotation marks, that can represent four dimensions, but we don't know if it exists really. We don't know.
It's all hypothetical.
Yeah. So any interpretation of how fourth dimension is, you can't say, oh, it's not like that, or it is like that, or this or that, which a lot of people I think did when it came out, saying, or the film's like retconning everything by putting in this magic little fourth dimensional area, but we have no idea what a fourth dimension or fifth dimension or sixth dimension would look like.
No. It's a thing that doesn't come to us because we don't know it. It's just all hypothetical. I mean, it's the same as wormholes, like that wormhole that was next to Jupiter that they travelled through. Yeah. In reality, wormholes are possible, according to the physics.
Are possible or impossible?
They are possible.
They are possible. I'm pretty sure they have to be miniature as anything, though, don't they?
No, they can be bigger, but it needs a lot of energy to create them. I think we can create wormholes. I'm sure we can. Or someone's done it, but if they're only minute, there is no way of us being able to travel through them until we get better technology. But the way that wormholes work, in the way that space and the laws of physics they are possible. Yeah, because all it does is it makes space which is empty space. It's not air or anything. It just makes them close together.
A good way to visualize this for people out there is a wormhole. Like if you have this is used quite commonly as an example, is if you've got a piece of paper with like a circle on it, if you bend that piece of paper in half and put like a pencil through, that's like a wormhole. It's like bending space over and going through. Yeah. So if you put like a point at one point of the circle, fold it over, put a pencil through it, you suddenly at the second point of the circle on the opposite side.
It's basically you're not travelling the distance to the other point. No. You're making the other point come to you.
Yeah. You're bending things around you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's a good point, that, isn't it? Like that Nolan's done. Like we've finished all three of these on the endings. Like it's a good one to make people keep talking about them afterwards.
Well, that's it. I mean, he's not got cut and dry endings all the time, has he? He's got things that make you think and make you want to know more.
I mean, I've told you about The Prestige, which I hope you'll watch it at some point because that's got one of the best endings in, I'd say, film history. Yeah. But that's another one which is and then there's been a couple of Memento, that's another one. Like I think every film that I've watched of his, I don't know much of his recent ones. I want to watch Dunkirk, but have you seen that?
I've seen Dunkirk. Yeah.
Is that a bit different? I thought it'd be a bit different.
It's a bit different when it comes to the ending because it is about the war. It's cut and dry. But it's a good film. You need to watch that one.
Yeah. But yeah, that's good. So. Finish off. Anything interesting this week?
Not too much this week. I haven't had much interest in. I mean, what about you?
So I just wanted to bring up a few interesting things that's happened in the week, like film wise. Do you know about like Sonic, like the Sonic movie?
Yeah.
Have you seen the recent trailer of it?
I haven't seen the trailer, but I've seen the pictures.
Yeah. So I thought I think everyone knows like they brought out the first trailer for the Sonic film, and the guy and the. What's a good way to like the character model for Sonic was a bit grotesque for people. Like they didn't like it, so I can't remember what the studio is, but they took it and said, "Okay, we get your hate.
We'll change it."
They changed it, and they've done a really good job of changing it, like being more. How dare you?
They've done
so the first trailer came out, and they showed the character model of Sonic, and everyone hated it. Like it didn't get back, and the CEO or whoever designed it said, okay, we get it, we're going to go back and change it. And they've gone back and done a much more representative of like the games and the series, and I think I really hope that the film does well. It's got a lot more popular now, but I really hope it does well because this is a studio who's taken the feedback from their audience and probably put a huge amount of money in changing their entire film to.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, a lot of studios won't do that, will they? They'll just carry on and go, well, you just have to deal with it.
So I really hope. One, I hope the film's good. I don't know if I'll watch it but I really hope it does well because they've done that, and the character just looks so much better as well. I know they wanted it more lifelike, but it's that balance, isn't it? I did find it funny. There was a video that I just wrote down the title of it because I found funny. Someone's done a video and it's something like Sonic finds Jesus. Thank God for Studio X or something. I just found it a great title. It's just like people like it's just some great things at the moment. Another thing came out because it seems to be the time of nostalgic cartoons and games coming out, but they're bringing out a film of Scooby Doo.
Oh,
have you seen that?
No.
Oh, it's I just wrote that down because it's funny that they're bringing out more like old stuff, and then they're revamping it and then putting it out.
Stuff that we've already had. I mean, 2 Scooby-Doo movies.
2. Oh, but when I was looking into this, like, you know, that second live action Scooby-Doo was from 2004. 15 years ago.
Don't. That makes me feel old.
We are old.
That makes me feel very, very old.
But apparently, it's an animated film. It's not live action.
Oh, okay.
It's like some starting story, like how they all met and such like. But I just saw it before I started on Twitter or something like that. An interesting point, which is probably going to ruin a lot of people's childhoods, and it's not going to ruin childhood, but it's going to. You're not going to like this probably. Do you know what Shaggy's name is?
Go on.
His actual name is Norville Rogers.
Oh God.
Like Shaggy's just his nicknames. Norville's his actual name.
What is that?
I didn't read too much into it, and this is Wikipedia, so God knows. But his name is apparently Norville Shaggy Rogers.
Dear.
Yeah, that's pretty much just news, that sort of thing. Something I've just been watching that I thought people would be interested in is if you've got Netflix, they do an Explain series, which is like a series of small science documentaries on various topics. So if you're interested in stuff like that, because they've done a couple of good ones recently on esports and esports coding and billionaires. Those were 3 I've watched recently, so check those out. And that's pretty much good for us. I hope if you made it this far, thank you very much for listening. And yeah, see you next time.
Bye.